What's up, everyone? Today I want to talk about my thoughts on the future of Classic World of Warcraft as the most casual Classic player possible. My experience with Classic is I only started playing in the Wrath of the Lich King pre-patch because when Classic launched, I was fairly new to the game. I started playing at the end of Battle for Azeroth, even though I already made a character once, like in Mob. And of course, none of my friends played Classic WoW, so I guess I just never got into it. Now, when TBC came around, same story. No one played it. I was just, how can I say, getting better at retail and stuff. So yeah. And now when Wrath of the Lich King announced and the pre-patch was there, I started playing because I always wanted the Tabard of the Argent down and never got it. So I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna get a Tabard and see where I get from there. I didn't play further once I get the Tabard and did the pre-patch because I wasn't max level yet, and I got kind of the FOMO feeling, and I just stopped playing because I think me and many other people get influenced by FOMO and the hype that streamers create, and yeah, we think, oh, they get everything, and we will not be in time to get everything, and then we just stop playing. Um, I think that's kind of the modern type of gaming these days, and surely I experienced that in World of Warcraft. I know you can say like, yeah, but just don't watch the streamers or just play the game. Like, don't feel like this or that. Like, we're all just humans, and we feel certain ways or don't feel certain ways. So yeah, I got FOMO and I said to myself, you know what, I'd rather not play. I got what I wanted, and that's it. Even though for me, Wrath of the Lich King is the most amazing, how can I say, period of Warcraft, even though I never played it. Um, yeah, I always get kind of nostalgic, even though I wasn't there. I don't know how to explain it, but the Lich King is, of course, my favorite character, so yeah. Everything was there, and yet I didn't play it because of a stupid feeling called FOMO. So yeah, that sucks. Now with Cataclysm, um, what I'm planning to do is casually level to level 80 because I'm not even level 80 yet. I'm around 75 or something, and I'm just doing some casual dungeons to level up, and that's it because I'm mainly a retail player. But I kind of have a soft spot for classic World of Warcraft. Maybe with Cataclysm, when the launch arrives, I will level to 85. I don't know yet because the Mist of Pandaria remix comes, and yeah, I think I will play a bit of that and maybe Cataclysm on the side. I don't know yet. What the positives for me are about Classic is I get to experience a time when I didn't play it yet, like World of Warcraft. Um, to see how it was back then is just amazing, like how simple everything was and yet so good. I love the classic animations and the graphics. I think it's amazing. Like, it's, how can I describe it? I don't know. Like how your character runs or do the animations of the abilities. I don't know. It's something that really interests me and I like it a lot. And like I said before, I feel in kind of some way nostalgic to the classic expansions, even though I was too young to play it back then. Um, yeah, it just has a such a good vibe that make me want to be in the world and explore. I think classic has a huge potential. Like, it has a large player base, a large fan base, from players who grew up playing those games to players like me that never experienced it but yet still feel attracted to the classic formula. It's slower paced and relaxing, even though I have the feeling sometimes that because I'm so used to the fast pace of retail, that it's difficult for me to focus on the slow leveling and stuff. But I will get later to that again. The lore in Classic is still somewhat understandable because we all know retail is a big mess, and for a new player, you don't know what's going on, you understand shit, and yeah, for me, the lore in Classic has still so much ways to go, and if they ever do a Classic Plus or something, they can rewrite the story with the lessons they learned from the past. Um, the pressure to succeed and make WoW great again is not a thing in Classic, I think, like it is in retail, because the ultimate peak wasn't in the Classic era. Breath of the Lich King, we all know that. Um, we all know retail WoW is not what it used to be, and they're reimagining the game and trying to make it heal. And I think they're doing somewhat a great job at it. I kind of like Dragonflight. It was a bit boring for me sometimes, but yeah, I think they're going the right way. I'm looking forward to the next expansion and stuff. So, but with Classic, it's like they already had a great game and they can expand on that. We have a classic era that should not be touched any further. But I think there's a lot of people who want to see a different way. Maybe what if Arthas killed us or something, or maybe the Lich King was the ultimate bad guy, um, like the final boss of Classic, you know what I mean? Um, maybe throw in an old god or something. I don't know. Um, but there's still a lot of potential in the classic lore, and yeah, I would love to see them expand on that. The negatives for me are, I think classic will never get as much as development attention as retail does, which is I think logical in some way. Retail is their current game. Classic happened like the vanilla time and stuff. It happened already, so it's not their main attraction, which is understandable. And what we now saw with the Cataclysm beta, it was beta. Like I call it beta because it was just the pre-patch was released in a beta state, so it's for me sometimes confusing. Um, yeah, I read on Reddit and stuff that they look for more developers in the classic branch, and I think we see that. It does not get enough love, and maybe if they spend more money on it, but we all know Blizzard. Um, Classic could be more big than it is now. Um, Also, negative for me is that there's a lot of divided. The player base is really divided. Um, we all have different opinions on what the peak of Classic was, and back in the day, which was the best expansion. Breath of the Lich King was peak, but actually it was the start of going down, and Cataclysm confirmed that. So there's a lot of people who think different, and I think that has a bad influence on the game. We all want something different so the developers don't know who to listen to. Yeah, but these players want Cataclysm. No, it should have stopped with Wrath of the Lich King. No, they should have stopped with TBC, or they should have gone that way with expansions re-releasing. And as a retail player, I got used to the fast leveling and the easy quest, and the slow pace of classic can be a turn off for some people. Maybe not for you, maybe not for your guild, but for someone like me, it actually does. So I'm kind of in the middle of enjoying what classic is, but on the other hand, it's too slow because in classic era I never even had a max level character. The questing was so slow and I didn't know what to do, even with leveling guides. But I start to mob grind, but then I got burned out, and now I have a paladin of 54 just standing there in classic era. Also, maybe because classic era is not as populated anymore. I didn't really experience the hype and the peak of it, so maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. But I notice when I have to walk from the Eastern Kingdoms to Menetel Harbor, then fly to Darkshore, then walk all the way to Ashenvale. If you're not used to it, it's a really it's really a pain in the ass, really. Maybe you can't understand that, but for me it's kind of turn off, and sometimes I turn off classic era even before I finish a quest. So Wrath of the Lich King TBC, now with Cataclysm, I expect it will be more different. um, so yeah, we will just have to see with Cataclysm leveling how it will be for me. Many quality of life features are not there in the classic eras. So for some people, that's okay, that's good, that's how it used to be, it should be like that. Again, for modern players, it can be a game breaker. And the next thing is kind of, I think we Loki all have to agree with this, but the min-maxing Andes in classic is over the top. It's it ruins the game. I know it always existed, but with the modern mentality, for me it does not fit the old school style of classic. I heard a lot of people uh, tell their story about how they experienced classic, and everybody was a noob back then. There were a couple of really good players that had all the good stuff and really tried to min max. But now, like, with all the parses in Season of Discovery, like, where are we going with this? As a casual player, the game is not even playable anymore because you don't get in groups, or you have to find a guild with only casual players. I don't know, man. It's just, I think it has a big influence or on the game. And also, I think streamers and YouTubers have a lot to do with this. They can get everything just like this, and they have biz gear after a couple of weeks. And because we watch a lot of streamers and YouTubers, even though you don't notice, but we get influenced by it, and we experience FOMO. And I think in this time we experience this more than it was back in the day because we are so connected to everyone all the time. And I think it has a big influence on some people, including me. I try to ignore it, but and just do my own thing. But anyway, I still get influenced by it. Well, I think for the future of Classic, where they should go, like I said before, they shouldn't divide the player base anymore. Because right now we already have Classic Era, Hardcore, Solo Self-Found Hardcore, even though they are kind of similar. We have Season of Discovery, we have Cataclysm now. Like, we have five classic game modes or something. It's just too much. Then we also have retail, and people like me like to switch between them. Not everyone have has the time to do that. So what they should do is shrink from five different game modes, games to play, to maximum two. And one of them is obviously Classic Era. Classic Era is there to stay, no discussion possible. Um, is vanilla, well, not actually vanilla, we all know that, but the closest we will ever get to the vanilla experience. And I know there are many people who love the no changes and they shouldn't touch that ever. Just keep it there. I like how it is, and I think many people will agree with me. And then the second thing is obviously Classic Plus. For me, it's a must. We shouldn't forget seasonal discovery is only like a test object for what we like and don't like, which changes are good, which are not. A point that I want to make for Classic Plus is don't make it like retail. Keep the classic structure. We all saw in phase 3 of Season of Discovery. Many people didn't like the leveling and with the incursions or something like they shouldn't do that. Like focus on the questing, on being immersed in the world, class fantasy. The next thing is they should make it progressive, progressive server. Give the people time to catch up, but I shouldn't progress further than Wrath of the Lich King. Um, don't try to make everything balanced. Focus on the uniqueness of the classes, the class fantasy. I think that's what's really important. If you will try to make everything balanced, then why you should play a paladin or why should you play a rogue or something? No. Like, even if it's not fully balanced, I think people would be more happy with that than there are more people with balance. Um, so yeah, again, once we reach endgame, um, don't expand further than Wrath of the Lich King. I think make Arthas defeat us or something, then start over, expand on the story, be creative on it. The endgame should also be expanding horizontally. I know not many people, or maybe there are many people who agree with that, but don't throw away all our progression. I think Classic should be something, what you have will be forever there, and you will always be able to use what you have. If we get level 80, for example, you get Shadowmourne, don't make the next update make the weapon irrelevant. That sucks because you went all the way to achieve something, and then next expansion or the next phase or season or what the fuck, it just thrown in the bin. And I think that's a really bad way of handling something. We experience it in retail, or for example, what they did now with the legendary, they made a way of upgrading with the current item levels, which for me is something amazing. Um, I know many people want a Wrath of the Lich King or TBC era server, and I understand why, but then we are again dividing the player base, which is for me not good. So that's why I said earlier they should make a progressive server, a Classic Plus progressive server. Start with classic, focus on new quests, new storylines, maybe new abilities if the people like that, and let the people level at their own pace. Think the brackets are good. Um, the first 25 levels in Season of Discovery, everyone liked that. Then once we get level 60, keep it for a year or something, and then let everyone move to the Burning Crusade Plus or something, or maybe it can even stay Classic Plus level 60, and maybe we go at level 60 to Outland. Maybe we go at level 60 to Northrend or something. Like, bring new raids in at level 60. But expand horizontally. Make the world bigger that we had already, not make the big world we had irrelevant. I think that's the best way for Classic to go further in the future. Um, I don't know what you guys think about it, but let me know in the comments. I am really excited for the future of Classic. I think it's, if you see what old school RuneScape does, I think Classic has a big, huge potential to be its own unique game, and that attracts new people because in its own way it's kind of simple, and I think Classic Plus is the way to go. Give people what they want. They're communicating good with us. They have listened so far. Many years ago we would never have dreamed to have even Classic era servers. um, we are much closer to the developers than we were back in the day. So I don't know what you guys think about it. Again, leave a comment. Give me your opinion. I will listen anyway. So like, subscribe, and until the next time.